The dangers of hitchhiking are certainly apparent in British Columbia, where several women have gone missing or were found murdered along Highway 16. It's called the Highway of Tears. There have been recommendations that affordable alternatives to hitchhiking be found. Dr. Jacqueline Holler is a professor at the University of Northern British Columbia. She has done extensive research into hitchhiking in light of what's happened on the Highway of Tears, and she joins me now via Skype. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hello.
What conditions would you say are similar between northern BC's Highway of Tears and the current conditions that we have in northern Saskatchewan?
I think there are a number of points of comparison despite some geographical differences. In northern BC, as in northern Saskatchewan, we have a large Indigenous population. We have small communities that are relatively widespread, right? I mean, they're really spread out across a vast area. And we have some of the same social issues in BC's north as exist in Saskatchewan, and in Saskatchewan's north in particular. So I think all of those things together make the transportation issues in the two areas quite similar.
And therefore, with those transportation issues, does that lend itself to more people hitchhiking? What has your research found around what motivates people to try that?
Yeah, we asked many people who hitchhike why they hitchhike. And of course, the number one reason that people hitchhike is simply that they don't have enough money for other forms of transportation. Um, and they need to get to where they're going. This is something that people often don't realize. They see someone hitchhiking by the side of the road and they think, what the heck is that person doing? People need to get to access services, whether those be health services or social services. And those in BC's north, for example, are concentrated in very few larger communities. So people have to get to those services. People also have to get away from bad situations sometimes. Those would include situations of domestic abuse, for example, right? People need transportation to get out of those situations. Finally, as grocery stores are closing throughout rural and remote locations, people are even having to hitchhike to get groceries. So there are all kinds of everyday reasons that people are hitchhiking.
And a lot of groups in Saskatchewan have said that given the shuttering of STC, there are lives at stake. How accurate do you think that is?
I don't think that's exaggerated, frankly, because in our study, we asked people about their experiences when they were hitchhiking, knowing that people absolutely have to hitchhike to get around and to get their needs met. And what we found is that people have had some really frightening and criminal experiences. So many of the people who participated in our study had had experiences of what we would consider criminal sexual assault. And in many cases, those experiences were not reported to police. So there are dangers out there, particularly in northern, rural, remote settings. And so I think it's not exaggerated to say if you take away bus service and you put people out on the highway hitchhiking, you could see some really devastating impacts.
What other options are there? The government has said we can't afford to keep running a money-losing company, and so this is what they've chosen. What else could be done to get these people where they need to go and get there safely?
Well, I think, you can look at targeted forms of transportation. I would hope that the government is doing a thorough transportation analysis on this issue and thinking in terms of social inclusion and the needs of people in these remote communities. But certainly one thing that should be looked at in the very short term is something like what exists here in the north for medical services. Northern Health operates a medical shuttle that goes throughout the region and transports people who have medical appointments to those appointments in larger centers. So that's the kind of thing that definitely should be relatively easy to put in place. But I hope that I hope that the government won't stop there. I understand that there's a substantial amount of money involved in funding the STC. But the STC, now I might be wrong about this, it's been around for a very long time. And it represents, I think, an acknowledgement that whether you live in a city or whether you live in a rural area, transportation is really an important part of living in a society. And so, if the STC isn't going to be the preferred model for Saskatchewan, then I hope they're going to engage in a thorough transportation analysis and see what needs they can meet with particular, let's say, niche forms of transportation.
Thanks for your time this afternoon, Jacqueline. I appreciate it.
Thank you.